Yo, what's up? Today we're going to talk about one of the most important skills of a pilot in Enlisted on the Pacific campaign, and it's taking off from carrier planes. Now, the Pacific campaign introduced carrier planes to the game, and well, they have a bunch of advantages but also downsides. And one of the downsides is the following: if you want to take off the plane and you don't know how to do it, this thing happens. Yes, even though it looked very nicely, we just crash into the water. Now, how do we prevent it? We prevent it by doing the following. When you start on your plane, the first thing you do is you accelerate to maximum speed. Then, by using your mouse wheel, obviously, for PC players, then you put your nose down by clicking W, or S if you have inverted mouse, if you have inverted keyboard controls for your planes, and that's it. You literally don't do anything else. Successful taking off literally depends on not giving your plane any wrong inputs, because if you give your plane wrong inputs, it won't work. So once again, we accelerate to max speed, put our nose down, and then we don't touch anything. You just use your mouse to keep it in the center of the carrier so you don't crash left, right, and then you take off. Very simple. Well, it's very simplistic, but it takes a bunch of tries. So let's do it once again. We accelerate to maximum speed. You see it as the THR number. 110 means 100% of your engine performance. Then we put the nose down. It doesn't have to be completely down. You can put it up a little bit before you take off, but don't put it up too high, because if you put it up too high, ironically, you're also gonna crash. So what you want to do is, since when you start in the plane, you see the nose is very much up. That's the reason you have to put it down. Because if you keep the nose this way, the plane will automatically fall into the water. So we accelerate to maximum speed, then we put the nose down, then we put it a little bit up, so it's not completely down, and then that's all you do. Then you automatically are going to stay in the air, and from that moment on, you can start from that moment on, you're normally in the air, and you have enough upwards pressure with your wings, and then you can just do whatever you want. But these first seconds are absolutely crucial. One last time, because repetition is king here. Maximum speed, maximum acceleration, nose a little bit down, then a maximum down, then a little bit up, and then everything works out. Now here's the deal with the carriers. If you only use them to take off, you literally only get disadvantages, because it takes a lot of time and it's risk involved, because you can crash into water. Here's the actual advantage of the carriers. If your plane is damaged, you can repair it by successfully landing on the carrier. Successfully landing on the carrier is even much harder than taking off, so we'll take a look at it in detail. Look at by the way, the bombs and the damage of the plane. Once you land successfully, it gets completely repaired, and you completely replenish all of your ammunition. And you can take off. And the best thing is, even if you're currently in a fight and you're getting shot by enemy planes, A, you're gonna survive, and you're gonna be completely healed, and B, the carrier contains anti-air cannons that are gonna shoot down the enemy planes, basically 100%. There's no escape, the damage is too high. So yeah, extremely strong, absolutely extremely strong. Don't use the carrier for resupplying ammunition, because it's much slower than just flying to the resupply point. Obviously, only use it to repair your carrier, because that justifies the time investment. Now, how do you do it? First of all, you need to come from a very far direction and completely reduce your speed. Now, let's take a look again. Here I'm 110% engine power, and now I reduce it to 0. And then I increase it up to 11, which is the minimum, because if you have 0, you can actually crash into the water, or it becomes very hard to control the plane. If you have a little bit engine power, it works. Now I'm gonna activate the air brakes by pressing H. And now I have maximum air friction and minimum speed. And now I do the same thing as I did while taking off. I put my nose down, maximum down, parallel to the carrier, and then a little bit up. So it's not completely parallel to the carrier, because if it noses to down, you risk crashing into the carrier. But if your nose is a little bit upwards, you won't crash into the carrier. So this is all you need to do. You come from far away. You need to make sure you're already aligned parallel to the carrier length. And then you limit your speed. And then you activate your air brakes. And then you put your nose down and a little bit up. And then you're gonna perfectly and softly land on the carrier. After you landed on the carrier, you obviously have to take off again. But here's the good thing. Your carrier already, your plane already starts. And you can also use the takeoff. So in order to use the planes in the Pacific campaign to maximum skill, to maximum power, meaning including repairs, you need to absolutely learn how to take off safely and quickly and how to land. So I recommend trying it out a bunch of times. Just practice taking off 5 to 10 times. Practice landing 5 to 10 times. You can do a custom game for it. Or just use it in a normal game. Doesn't matter if you lose. But a custom game is easy. Especially if you find 3 other people. Then you can just put in 2 planes in your army. 1 fighter, 1 attacker. And then you can constantly use these carriers to practice it. And then everything's going to be great and nice for you. And the best thing is, there are actually very few people in the world who use planes in the Pacific, because literally taking off is so hard. So if you're one of the few people, you will be able to use planes very often, much more often than in other campaigns. Especially then compared to Normandy, where everyone wants to use planes and there's hard competition for the plane slot. And you will also enjoy the quite fun plane combat in the Pacific, because the planes are slow and you can actually do more dogfighting, unlike in campaigns with very strong, with very fast and strong planes, where it's literally about getting the first shot on the enemy, because the first shot usually decides the battle. Here you can actually do more classical combats, air combats against enemy planes. And the power level isn't too high, so you can actually do more nuanced strafing since you're quite slow. And you can also do some nice bombing, and it's really fun and nice to do all of these things in the jungle environment. Alright, that's it. Enjoy your newly found skills and have great games. Until next time, goodbye.